sticking your fingers in my mouth and spitting in my eyes.
Yeah.
Woo.
Not during a pandemic.
No, that's when you subscribe to the Quick Drag OnlyFans.
That's right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Quick Drag. I'm Adrian Ross, and today we are reviewing episode 6 of Canada's Drag Race with the one, the only, the legendary in the making, Lilith Fair from Calgary, Alberta. Hey, Lilith!
Hail Santa!
A fantastic start. Did you have an opportunity to watch episode 6?
I absolutely did. I'm addicted to the show. I'm obsessed.
Excellent, then you are in the right place. So let's get right to it. The episode enters with the girls entering the workroom right after Kiara's exit from last week.
She's making up for the fact that Anastasia didn't leave a message by using the entirety of the mirror. She said, "This mirror? Yeah, I'll write on this mirror. You're going to have to halt production because you're going to be cleaning these mirrors for the next 5 weeks."
And that's basically what Priyanka said. She took it in good stride, but was like, I think this might need to be an extended episode while we clean off this mirror. So kudos to Kiara for being a total cunt. Scarlett seems annoyed with Boa, which isn't anything different from usual. It seems like every week she's really annoyed with Boa.
She should spend a few more times making a few more snacks for herself with craft services because her blood sugar seems to be a little bit low these days.
And they also celebrate Jimbo's well-deserved win. And then it's a new day in the workroom, and they ask Priyanka how she feels about having to lip sync for her life. And she seems to say that she was excited she got to show what she's able to do.
And it was an excellent lip sync. Lip syncing is the majority of our job, so if you can't do that, you don't deserve to be there. I'm lip syncing right now.
Rita talks about feeling a little bit isolated since Kiara left, because she's the only French queen left. There's also an unseen clip of Boa kind of getting a warning to step it up.
Boa, how do you feel about your warning? Cut to, I'm warning you. Cut back. It's like it takes seconds, so why do we have to wait until the next episode?
We get to the room mail, and RuPaul is giving a lot of legalese, which can only mean one thing. Who the fuck knows?
Preparing them.
Jeffrey Boyer-Chapman comes into the workroom, and it is time for the mini challenge. For the mini challenge, what they have to do is a psychic hotline improv. Our special guest for the mini challenge is Crystal from Drag Race UK. And the girls have to answer a call from Crystal and give their psychic advice. What did you think about the mini challenge?
I thought that Jimbo did a really wonderful job. I thought it was the most dedicated to the psychic aspect of it. And I think she also told the most jokes. I also like Boa just because it was so bizarre. It's nice to know where Boa's priorities lie. She was like, psychic? Absolutely not. Phone sex? You got it.
For me, I agree. I think Jimbo was incredible. I liked the characterization that Rita was giving it. I thought her character was really unique and interesting and appropriate. I really did like Lemon. I thought Lemon was quite funny. So the winner is Lemon, and then the Maxi Challenge is announced, which is a late night law firm commercial. Lemon, who won the mini challenge, gets to choose the teams, so she selects Priyanka as her partner. She also chooses the sissies, Bobo and Ilona, to work together, which Scarlett didn't seem to be too excited about.
I hate my friends too.
And the last team is Jimbo, Rita, and Boa.
I feel like at first glance that's like the dream team.
They show each of the teams working in the workroom, and first up is Lemon and Priyanka. They seem to be working really well together. They seem very in sync with one another. Lemon and Priyanka decide to be the pussy protectors. They're here to protect drag queen vaginas.
Finally. Nobody will help me because it's been in so many accidents.
The team of Boa, Jimbo, and Rita coming up with the concept of dealing with bachelorette parties as a drag queen. It seems like they're really trying to adapt their styles to work together. They're trying to kind of find that rhythm.
Which was strange to me.
We've got Scarlett and Ilona working together, and they're excited about their sissies concept, but they are clearly having differing styles. Scarlett is once again showing that she's kind of irritated with everybody. Jeffrey Boyer-Chapman comes in to do a little walkthrough. He's encouraging to Lemon and Priyanka. He says to Scarlett and Alona that neither of them have won a challenge and encourages them to kind of pop with this. He really likes the concept for the Bachelorette and asks about their worst Bachelorette experience, to which Rita shocks me and I think everyone.
Like, what? A Bachelorette party attendee puts her finger in Rita Vega's butthole, which opens the floor to a lot of questions.
So they move into filming their commercials and Stacey is on set as a bit of a guide.
Filmmaker Stacey McKenzie.
Yes. First up is Lemon and Priyanka, and they seem to be just kind of running through it. They know exactly how they want it done. They seem pretty on it.
Very prepared, yeah. They did a wonderful job.
Next up is Jimbo, Rita, and Boa.
They were very committed as far as energy. I do like that they incorporated French as well as English.
And then the last to film were Scarlett, Bobo, and Alona. For me, it was very chaotic. In seeing them do it, I didn't know what the commercial was going to look like, to be honest with you.
Also very funny that they, in no capacity, considered what set or props they wanted to use. Upset, and Stacey was like, what props do you want? And they were like, we didn't even think about props. The fact that they were just happy to stand in front of a green screen with nothing on it and just deliver their lines. That's the confidence that I look for in a drag superstar.
Yes, absolutely. We move into Elimination Day and we're coming in the room and the sissies are sissying and the other girls seem to be quite over the sissy chat.
Yeah, James Charles is getting his lawyers on the phone. He is sister suing right now.
That's correct. So they ask Lemon about her choices for creating the group. She says that they're all really strong and so she didn't think that she was trying to throw anybody off their game.
When the groups are being made, you might subconsciously think that there are weaker people in the room. But when you verbalize that you're unhappy with the groups, that is actively suggesting that you think there are people in the room that are garbage. Especially when you bring it up on a group challenge where you have one partner, and that pretty immediately suggests that you're not happy with your partner.
Exactly, and Lemon shut it down right in that moment, being like, do you not think your sissy is talented? And Scarlett was caught. She was caught.
Gagged. Gagged.
Then it moves into Boa, who talks about being assaulted after bringing somebody home, and then that person assaulted them, threatened to kill them, and stole a number of items from them.
When she posted the selfie and she said that the community rallied around her, you couldn't really grasp how widespread that support was, because drag queens across Canada really rallied around Boa in that moment. Like, when the photo came up, I remembered seeing it and donating to that GoFundMe, and what a terrifying time. That's still happening for people being assaulted constantly, and this week alone in Calgary, we had 3 acts of homophobic violence.
I think you're right that the moment on the TV didn't really demonstrate how widespread that photo went and how viral it went and the weight that it carried for a lot of queer people in Canada.
Drag aside, it's the reality that a lot of us live with, is that constant fear of being attacked just for existing. Someone expressing their fear through violence.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's not a comfortable thing to talk about, but I'm glad she did feel comfortable enough to be that vulnerable with us, because those stories are so important. It's important that we maintain that outrageousness, that outlandishness, our queer identity, because the second that we put it away out of fear, that's the second that we lose and everything's been for nothing.
It's meaningful that her being able to share that is meaning something to people who just watch a drag program.
Absolutely.
They move on to the main stage where Tom Green is the guest host for the week, and the theme for the runway is Canadian Tuxedo. For anyone who doesn't know, a Canadian tuxedo is the term for when you're wearing denim on the top and on the bottom, so a full denim look. First out on the runway was Scarlett. What did you think of Scarlett's look?
I thought it was really clean. I thought it was really cool looking. I love Scarlett Bobo's style. I think she's very exciting on the runway.
I also loved how she had like the neon nails and the neon accessories that kind of like popped against the denim. It was a good look.
Yeah.
Next up was Alona on the runway. I don't like chaps that aren't like really fitted, and that's just an aesthetic thing for me. So from the waist up, stunning. The outfit was really well tailored. Makeup was beautiful. The hair with the laid baby hairs was gorgeous.
That shade of blue on her though was stunning. Like that very dark navy blue, really beautiful.
Next on the runway was Boa.
Gave me that sort of rock star vibe. The hair was beautiful.
One thing I noticed on the runway was that she always had one hand behind her back, like holding it. You can't really give everything you want on the runway if you're focused on keeping your costume upright, I guess. Next on the runway was Jimbo. Because you were working with Jimbo last night at the viewing party, you got to see this denim outfit in person. What was it like?
Incredible. This was like a Lovecraftian Levi jean monster come to life. It was really fucking cool.
I expect Jimbo to walk out and for them to be like grabbing each other and gasping, and there was none of that. Like, I was surprised at the response to it. And it was so fitted too. Like, it was fitted so well to her proportions and her padding. Next on the runway was Rita.
Category is denim. Was there denim on stage? I think she looked really cool.
Yeah.
I liked the tearaways. I think the hair was cool. She always has great makeup. I don't know that it was denim though.
They knew it was a denim challenge. I would imagine they would have all worn denim because you don't want to miss the challenge entirely. But it didn't read as denim, and that's too bad. Next out on the runway was Priyanka.
I liked it. Didn't really like the hair. I think it was nicer than what Lemon wore, but not as nice as what Alona wore. I would have liked it if she just had bigger, fuller hair.
Yeah. Last out on the runway was Lemon.
Out of the looks on the stage, it was perhaps the least polished. It sort of reminded me of Edmonton, and in that respect, I responded positively to it. It was definitely denim.
I don't think it was necessarily the most successful look. It wasn't super refined. Then we have an opportunity to check out the commercials that each of the teams filmed. We start with Scarlett and Alona. They are the Sissy Settlements.
It is my favorite concept. I do think that they looked good. I like Scarlett Bobo's energy in the commercial. I appreciate that Alona gave a lot of energy, but a little too much screaming.
Scarlett was giving very like direct hand gestures for things, and I love that. That seemed very lawyerly to me. I think Alona was a bit one note. It was a lot of sissy screaming. The next commercial that we get to see is Rita, Jimbo, and Boa. They are the Bells. I felt like the acronym with that was a little bit of a stretch.
It was a long way to go for not very much of a punchline. Some confusing visual choices with them being two different characters, and then also the pit crew was them at certain points. I think that this was maybe the weakest concept.
I mean, I don't think it was a bad concept. I think that they didn't fully deliver it the way that they were hoping, I think.
Right, yeah.
There were some funny moments in it, though, as well. Like, Jimbo was really, like, giving it his all with the, like,
"It's my special day!"
And then the last commercial we see is Lemon and Priyanka with the pussy protectors.
It was very funny, because in this one, they also played two different characters, but it was edited better, so it made more sense, I think. I wasn't as confused as to what was happening.
It was really well done. They obviously had the eye to say, we want it this way, this is what this is going to look like. They had it figured out from that standpoint, which I think ended up in the final result with maybe more a successful product. And it really did seem like a legal commercial until the end where it became about them being criminals. That was the turn I didn't really see coming. I thought they did a good job. We get onto the critiques, and for Scarlett, they say her delivery was on point in the commercial, and Brooklyn says that she loves the outfit and the neon pops. For Alona, Jeffrey Boyer-Chapman says that the mug is painted and he loves it, but that he didn't love the booty and that she needed some full coverage makeup on that.
Put foundation on your ass?
Yeah,
that's
not
stupid. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Stacey said that she liked that on the runway, the reveal was at the end, so it was like the full costume the entire time, and then she turned around to walk out and it was like, booty! Brooklyn said that she was very one note in terms of the acting, which we agreed with. For Boa, Jeffrey said that she seems to get in her head when she's in the acting challenges. Brooklyn said that she doesn't really like the wings. She thought they looked kind of cheap. Then Tom calls his mom and says, look, we look the same. For Jimbo, Jeffrey Boyer Chapman says, welcome to the competition.
The nonsense critique of Jeffrey saying, welcome to the competition, honey. Like, she won.
She's been in the top twice, she's been safe twice, and she won once, which was last week.
Like, what the hell are you talking about?
I'm so mad at that.
When it happened, Jimmy was sitting right next to me, and we just looked at each other, and then just laughed. She was like, it was weird when it happened, too. I didn't understand it then, but folks kind of know.
Well, now it's weird now and everybody knows it. He also says that he loves the outfit and that she's doing Lee Bowery proud with this kind of club kid look. And Brooklyn says the look is incredible and encourages Jimbo to keep surprising us next week. Which means that Jimbo's at least going to be there next week, so secret reveal during the critiques. Next up is Rita. Brooklyn said she wanted an ass pad because Rita had the hip pads but a flat ass. And Jeffrey said in the acting challenge, Rita was his favorite because he didn't know what was going to come next and she was speaking French and giving him everything he wanted. For Priyanka, Tom said that it felt the most like a legal commercial. Jeffrey Boyer Chapman said they looked like a real lawyer who doesn't have the time to do a full beat, which was kind of like a backhanded compliment, I thought. Stacey says she wishes the look was more elevated, and Brooklyn said it was a clean look, but not what she was expecting at this point in the competition. For Lemon, Jeffrey says that he loved the character in the law commercial, but he felt like it was a bit the same as the one in the Heritage moment. Stacey said she loves her walk. It feels very fashion, very model, but the outfit is a mess. This was also wild. Brooklyn was like, I think this really could have worked if you, made it smaller here and did this and made more of a bell bottom and wore a stiletto instead of a chunky boot and put on a gold belt and had a purse. And so Lemon's like, so basically an entirely different outfit. And Brooklyn's like, yes. So following all the critiques, they ask the terrifying age-old question, which is who should go home and why? When they started asking them, Bobo said, based on the runway, I'm going to say Lemon. And then once one person says that person, well, it's easy to pile up on that person because then you don't take as much of the blame as saying someone new, right? So I think that was part of it. But then also Alona said Lemon, Boa said Lemon, and Jimbo said Lemon. And all of them said it was because based on the runway. And it's only when it got to Rita that she was like, based on the Maxi Challenge and the runway, I'm going to say Alona. And same with Pri and Lemon, they both said Alona as well.
I think perhaps for the majority of the girls, like once someone had said Lemon, who has proven herself to be competition, it is easier for everyone to then say, oh, this is perhaps our opportunity to put it in the judges' minds that we don't think she's on the level. So we perhaps look at her a little more critically, perhaps put her in the bottom, perhaps send her home because she is competition. But then because Rita's been doing so well and she's like the front runner, she doesn't see the need for that. So she's like, well, here's what I actually think.
Yeah, maybe. That's a good point. So they move into the back to untuck and Lemon kind of reframes the question that was put out there to say it wasn't whose outfit was the worst, but who deserves to go home. And I think that's exactly what she needed to say.
Good for her.
Alona kind of admits that she was sort of feeling threatened because Lemon's everything that she wants to be, so that might have been part of the reason. And Boa says that Lemon seems a bit too full of herself, and she's not the only one who thinks so, but she's not going to say names. But Lemon takes it in stride and says, you know what, this is not RuPaul's best friend race.
Good for her. It's not worth giving your energy to. It's not worth focusing on. It's not worth thinking about. The only person that you need to be concerned with is yourself. That's not a particularly Canadian way of thinking.
No.
What good comes from internalizing that half the stage said you should go home?
Right. So we move back onto the runway and the winner is announced as Rita Vega. Congratulations to Rita. She's now won 3 of the 6. She's won half of the challenges of this season so far.
Which must feel excellent. I feel like she's guaranteed top 3.
Unless she really shits the bed, I don't see how she could miss being in the final.
I don't necessarily agree with the outcome. I thought both Jimbo and Scarlett Bobo, I thought it was more between the two of them, but I would never be so audacious as to take away from someone. So.
No, of course. We obviously congratulate Rita, but I agree. Jimbo, Scarlett Bobo, Priyanka, and Lemon are safe. And the bottom two are Boa and Ilona Burley. Do you think this was the correct bottom two?
I do. Based off of challenge and runway, it was completely fair that this was the bottom two.
The bottom two need to lip sync to Alessia Cara's Scars to Your Beautiful.
What I appreciated about Ilona is that she was very specific in her movement. She looked great, she moved good, and Boa, so much of her delivery was to Ilona, which made it really hard for us as audience members to connect with the performance.
I think you're kind of spot on. Ilona was emoting, directing it towards the judges, feeling the words of the song, and she was moving in a way that represented what the song was portraying.
Absolutely.
And Boa definitely seemed like she was directing so much more at Ilona. So Ilona wins the lip sync, and for her it's a Shantae You Stay, and unfortunately for Boa it is Sashay Away. But she doesn't leave us without giving us one more funny. She says, "I didn't come here to make friends, I came here to make lasagna." Well, that brings us to the end of episode 6 of Canada's Drag Race, but be sure to come back on Wednesday because we are going to have a profile and performance from our drag artist co-host of the week, Lilith Fair. Thanks so much for watching Quick Drag. If you enjoyed what you saw, hit the subscribe button over there, click on our social media links in the description below, and be sure to come back on Wednesday for a profile and performance from Lilith Fair.